This playoff season, there's only one place where we'll bet, and that's Fanatic Sportsbook. Yes, they're our presenting sponsor, but it doesn't make sense to bet anywhere else if you're a sports fan. Because when you bet, you earn fan cash, win or lose, which means that your bets get you closer to accumulating fan cash for authentic jerseys, hats, memorabilia, and much more. Winning just hits different with Fan Cash. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut residents, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts residents, call 888-327-5050. New York residents, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland residents, visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
82% free throw shooter in the regular season. 81% against Detroit. He'll rattle that in to tie it at 90. And tonight from the line, 2 of 3 with 16 points. Here comes Robinson. There goes Towns on the substitution with 12.7 to go in regulation. Now for the lead.
And Boston has a timeout left.
Starters are out there for the Celtics.
They're going to go. They're not going to use the timeout. Plenty of time here.
It's Tatum. Robinson's on him. Tatum maneuvering. Oh, the ball knocked away. Another great defensive play for the Knicks. They've got it. They've won it. New York has gone up 2 games to none. And defense again at the end.
Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by Fanatic Sportsbook. I am just going to issue a statement of disclosure at the top. I've been lucky enough to sit in this chair for several years now, and over that time, I have had people reach out with incredible kindnesses because, they with some version of like, Macri, after a big game or a tough loss or whatever, I tune into you because you have a way of putting what we witnessed into words. I've had about 7 minutes to process what just happened. I have no earthly clue where to begin, what to say. I don't even really know what exactly just happened, even though I watched it, and I have been watching basketball, 92, 93 a little bit, but really 93, 94. So we're going on 32 years now. I mean, 8 points in 8.9 seconds was like a thing that I thought I would like. But that was in 8.9 seconds. This was not that. This was something else. And I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it in a Knicks game. I've never seen anything like it in an NBA game. That was one of the most inexplicable endings to a basketball game or a sporting event that any of us has ever witnessed, to the point that, and y'all know me, I don't hold it back. I let the emotion run wild. There was no scream from me. There was no visceral explosion of anything that had been pent up, because the entire time that was happening, I refused to let it sink in that it was actually happening. I refused. And you want to know where I was, Benjy and Benjy Ritholtz? Thank the good Lord that Benjy is here with me today, because I mean, he's shaking his head. You better come up with something fast, buddy. You know where I was in this game, Benjy? You know where I was, honestly? I was at the point where I was upset every time the Celtics missed another open three, because I'm like, God damn it, we're wasting this shit on this night where we can't do anything. And we refuse to get out of our own way and play coherent, competent basketball for any meaningful stretch of time. That's where I was at most of like this. Really, it started in the second quarter, but for a lot of like the third quarter, even into the fourth quarter, honestly, at certain points in this game, I just was like, could we not waste this now? This is not happening for us tonight. I've been watching this team for 30 fucking years. I know when it's not happening, and it's not happening tonight. And now we are sitting here, and I ostensibly have to make sense of it happening. It happened. And I don't know what to do. Benji, what?
I don't think you watched. They didn't have a field goal for 8 minutes until Tatum dunk.
It was a 21-2 run.
They didn't have a field goal. They didn't have a field goal for 8+ minutes in the fourth quarter until the Tatum dunk to give them the lead. Watching this game, the New York Knicks did not believe that they were this close, nor did they believe that they went ahead. Like, you watch their faces. They could not comprehend with the way they played this game. They could not believe it. Tatum, Jalen Brunson postgame was speechless. They had him on the TNT or whatever, the sideline report, that he didn't know what to say. And now we have to get on here and try to say something. That was inexplicable in so many ways. It's why basketball is so beautiful, but it's also why all the analysis can feel like a major waste of time. Because we throw it all out when crazy crap happens. That was one of the craziest experiences watching a game I have ever had. I stopped tweeting. I stopped talking. I was just watching this meltdown happen in real time. I don't know what to say, John. That was unbelievable in the truest, literalist sense of the word. That was unbelievable to experience.
So we'll get the drinking game out of the way now, because as usual, someone who has seen a few of these things, this was Zach Lowe's tweet. You want some basic analysis for something like that to happen. The team trailing has to play really well, and the team ahead has to disintegrate into a puddle of nothing. Label it what you want, collapse, comeback, whatever. It's a bit of all of it, and New York deserves both wins. Let's get this out of the way also. This was different than game one.
Yes.
Game one, was there some of Boston giving it away? Was there some of Boston, not maybe going, trying to generate better offense? Was it them taking the easy fruit as opposed to working a little harder to go for, the lowest hanging fruit? I know that analogy doesn't make perfect sense, but go with it. There was some of that. This was like, we can't say that this was only a Boston collapse. That's why I wanted to read Lowe's tweet. You can't, if it is a 21-2 run, yes, the 2, it features prominently there, but so does the 22. And you can't magic 22 points. You can't dream it up. Those 22 points actually happened. And I think if you want to be the most optimistic you could possibly be about the Knicks tonight, I think you have to lean into this reality. Whatever we thought exited this team with the departures of Isaiah Hartenstein and Dante DiVincenzo, that ethereal something that they possessed, call it toughness, call it grit, call it any of the buzzwords that we say anytime the Knicks get one of these big wins, and we were convinced, 51 wins be damned, we're convinced that those qualities were no longer a member of this basketball team, this roster. I think we could safely say now that those qualities are still here to a prominent enough degree that when they were down, and I'm looking at it right now, let's put a pin in this, 84-68 when Peyton Pritchard made a 3-point shot after yet another Boston offensive rebound. I haven't even looked at the final stats on how many offensive rebounds the Knicks gave up in this game because, frankly, I don't want to. It was a 16-point deficit with 8 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. You were on the road. You already went in there and did your job. We would have come on here and we would have kvetched about all manner of nonsense that the Knicks did, but we would have been able to lean back on this reality, Benji. They could hit the play better button. We knew they would be able to hit the play better button going into game 3. So we would have been able to at least sleep the next few nights without feeling like, oh my God, Boston has completely figured us out. They would have been able to improve things. So they had every excuse to go quietly into the night. Again, down 16 with 8 minutes and change left to go in the arena of the team that hoisted the NBA title trophy 11 months ago. And they didn't quit.
And I'll tell you, like, the sources of that stick-to-itiveness were both your oldest and your newest Knicks. And there is something beautiful about that. Because I think if you're going to talk about anyone in this game actually having a really good performance, because I'm not sure there's anyone outside of this player for all of their minutes that you could say had a really good performance, but Mitchell Robinson was the best Knick tonight. I think by a significant margin. And
give me some more. Stay on this because he deserves it. He's been here for 7 years.
Yeah, and when nothing else was going for this team, he was just really throughout the game rock solid, both ends, screener, rebounder, defender until that last Tatum possession, which stunk. But okay, overall, just a monster to the point that Joe Mazzulla is trying to get him out of the game because there are points where the hack a Mitch strategy is to lower the points per possession for the Knicks. But two things. Number one, the Knicks couldn't score. So to what degree are you actually lowering the points per possession for the Knicks? And number two, down the stretch, he fouls twice. That's not before they were in the bonus. That's to kick him out of the game. That's to get Mitchell Robinson out of the game because Mazzulla understood that he was their best player tonight. And that is just tremendous credit to him.
22 minutes, 22 minutes, a plus 19 in a game they won by 1. The stat line won't pop out at you. 6 points, 8 rebounds, 3 on the offensive glass, but 3 steals. 3 of the Knicks' 10 steals for Mitch.
And game 1, plus 11, I believe. In a game
team high,
won,
plus 13. Might have been plus 13.
In a game they won by
3.
So you could argue he's been their best player of the series and so that's Mitch. That's your oldest Knick. And then to see, look, Mikal Bridges was once again horrendous for 3 quarters. Not just bad. And actually, I would say worse in game 2 because his defense wasn't at the same level for 3 quarters. Where he got some one-on-one beats. Jaylen Brown went through him a couple times, got out physical, the stuff that we hated in the regular season that he's improved on in the playoffs. And Brunson and Cat go to the bench to start the 4th quarter. And they have to run stuff through Bridges. And by hook or by crook, it wasn't always pretty. He gets to a couple of mid-range jumpers and makes them. Then he makes a 3 on top of it. And all of a sudden, he comes out and has a great 4th quarter. And for a guy who's taken all the criticism he's taken and understood at that point, I'm sure, with the criticism he was about to take, should the game go how we all thought it was going to go.
He was going to get all of it.
And for him to come out and win the game for them, to generate those buckets without Brunson, then Brunson deferred to him a bunch as that 4th quarter continued because Brunson understood he had it going. Again, some mixed results, but he manufactured a few buckets in there. And then to make, once again, how many times have we said this? The final defensive play of the night goes to Mikal Bridges. He's done that like 5 times now between the regular season and the playoffs. That there's something to be said. Like the guy understands how to get a stop when he needs it. So you have your oldest Knick, you have your newest Knick. Cat, there's a lot to talk about. Cat, I thought, had mixed as always, but a lot of positives. Certainly, he built on much better game than game 1. So yeah, collectively, like a refusal to let go of the rope. I'll pinpoint before I'll get back to you, John, but one more moment as I'm finding my voice now a little bit.
You're like the Knicks.
Yeah. They're down 20 with Porzingis makes a crazy 3. It was actually a great defensive possession. Porzingis steps back after Tatum had the pump fake off an OG contest and gets it to Porzingis on the wing, and he makes a tough 3. They go up 20 with 3:12 left in the 3rd quarter. Now, once again, They're up 20. This happened in game 1. It happened in game 2. They have 2 20-point leads this late in the game. It's actually absolutely remarkable. The Knicks come down and turn the ball over. It's a Tatum and Brown 2-on-1. It's an automatic bucket. And somehow Tatum throws a lob. Brown thought it was going to be, Tatum threw a bounce pass. He thought it was going to be a lob, and it goes out of bounds. Celtics go up 22 in that moment if they just execute a simple 2-on-1 with their 2 best athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And they mess it up. And like, I just felt in the moment had that been a dunk and a timeout, like it's probably over. And it's just, again, like this combination of the Celtics can't get out of their own way. That's one of the worst performances by a defending champion in the history of the NBA. There's no question about that. Like that was an atrocity. I mean, I can't wait to hear Tim Legler tomorrow on that performance. Now, it's not because of the volume of threes. It's just because they look like the deer in the headlights on these guys. It was just like crazy. But anyway, they're about to go up 22. They don't go up 22. Somehow, to the Knicks' credit, it's like, all right, one possession at a time. We can stay in this. We can do this. And they refused for 2 games in a row now. And to your point, John, when they easily could have let go, considering they won game 1, it's an easy punt, and you leave Boston with a smile on your face.
Yeah, you did your job.
And they refused. Unbelievable.
So a couple things. I wrote the symmetry. It's not exactly the same as game 1, but the symmetry where in game 1, I believe the score was 75-55. Josh Hart hit a 3. And then I think it was White came down, hit another 3. And then we went back down the other direction. And then I think it was the OG 3 that then again cut it to 17. And then OG started to get it going. And then they started cutting into the league. So it was like, it got up to 20. A Josh Hart 3 made it under 20. The Celtics hit a 3 to respond. And then the Knicks hit a basket to start the comeback. The difference here, Benji, is after the Hart 3 and the Porzingis 3 that you mentioned, which was crazy, and the play that you mentioned, the defensive possession, after that, Brunson comes down. I forget the look that he got. I'm looking at it says it's a 28-footer. I don't remember it being a great look. And
step back 3. Yeah.
It was a step, and there was a lot of not great looks for Jalen Brunson tonight. We'll get into that. But then after that, I'm just going to read the play-by-play. Derek White misses 25-foot 3-point jumper. Derek White offensive rebound. Derek White misses 25-foot 3-point jumper. I didn't repeat the same thing. That's a new line. Kristaps Porzingis offensive rebound. Kristaps Porzingis misses tip shot. Mitchell Robinson defensive rebound. Miles McBride makes dunk. And then after that dunk, we got another Hart 3 and then a Deuce 3. And all of a sudden it was 12. And I look at this comeback as a comeback in 2 stages. That stretch right there was stage 1, because if you did not pull off that bit right there, you would not have had, I don't think, going into the fourth quarter, the belief, any semblance of momentum to carry you through home, so that when it got back up to 16, there were still shreds of the momentum that you had built up still in the third quarter there. And then you started to make your push at the 8.5 minute mark, whatever it was. That's the first point that I want to make. The next point that I want to make, and we never disagree about anything. I'm going to push back on something you said, though.
Good.
It was a disintegration. It was a disintegration of epic proportions. And you're right. Tim Legler or anybody else isn't going to get on tomorrow and talk about shot selection down the stretch of this game as being the major culprit. That said, we must, as responsible analysts of this sport, acknowledge the fact that Boston had about as bad a shooting night as you are going to have through the first 3 quarters of basketball. And that is just a reality. And I don't know if we have time to dig into it tonight. I will say that much like game 1, a lot of those open looks did come off of offensive rebounds, which is frustrating for a different reason. I actually thought, and this is what I can't reconcile, and this is, I hope you could help me here. Through 3 quarters, I did not feel like the Knicks played bad defensively. I did not think it was a bad defensive game for them. I did not think it was a great defensive game, maybe not even a above average defensive game, but I was like, in the half court. So forget defensive rebounding is part of defense. But if we put that aside, I actually liked how they were generally going about defending Boston's actions, with the exception of Karl-Anthony Towns having some sort of brain fart in the middle in the beginning of the third quarter. Do you disagree with the statement that I just made? Let me just go there.
No, I think the difference was from game one was individually one-on-one they got beat more until the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
First three quarters, both Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges were the victims of just isolate, and Jalen Brunson on Holiday early in the game.
Oh, it was the first play of the game.
Yep, and I talked about that. Brunson needs to avoid those. Like, you need to make it a little tough on these, and like to just get back into the rim a few times. That was the difference to me in terms of the first half defense. And then in the third quarter, it was Karl-Anthony Towns being told to fall into a drop coverage, which then shame on you, Tibbs, or forgetting where he was, had a couple drinks at halftime. I don't know. Well, but they came down. Tatum gets 5 easy ones, and then there's another 3 that comes off of the Towns drop coverage. Don't understand it. With the exception of those two things, I think the offensive rebounds were as bad in game 1 as game 2. I think they're just bad. They're not rebounding the ball well. I thought that, I agree. The defense was good enough.
The final number, by the way,
the offense is a bigger issue.
16 offensive rebounds for the Boston Celtics. Felt like more. Frankly, it felt like closer to 20. The reason why I wasn't getting too upset at those instances of them not holding their ground on defense is because to me, that was an admission by Boston of like, we're going to do something different than what we usually. That's not. I don't think that's how Boston wants to play, frankly. And I don't know if that factored into their performance. But I just don't look at that. Like, to me, that's not Boston Celtics basketball. Maybe you disagree. I don't view that as Boston Celtics basketball.
The offensive rebounding, you mean?
No. Them like going one-on-one into the paint.
Yeah. Well, look, you're going to have to do that against a switching defense at times. And the Knicks haven't really seen much of that because they haven't switched in the regular season. So it's been more like blitz the ball, the Knicks have been in the blender against Celtics for a whole regular season. Now they're mucking it up. To their credit, the switching scheme has mucked up Boston. Everyone in the league knows that's how you muck up Boston. This is no secret. You have to be able to switch and force them into one-on-one play.
Absolutely.
If Tibbs didn't do that coming out in game 1, it would have been a tremendous demerit on his part. Like, everybody knows. There's not an analyst who covers this team or nationally or anyone who thought that they shouldn't switch at least more than they did in the regular season coming out in game 1. And they are, and they were successful in game 1. And because of that, I think the Celtics understood we have to play a little bit more isolation-heavy basketball, and that's a plus. Now it's a matter of just holding up in those matchups a little bit better than they did in game 2.
I'm going to give you 2 numbers. Second chance points for Boston, 23. Points off turnovers for Boston, 25. Between those two things, to get back to kind of where I started the show at, the reason why I was at such an apoplectic place where I was like, again, it was upsetting me when the Celtics would miss a shot, because I'm like, why? I don't want them to waste these misses on this game. Is for those 2 reasons, because they were rebounding the ball abhorrently, and some of the turnovers, man. Oof. Like, I'm having a lot of trouble giving the Celtics defense now. As I start to say, I'm having trouble giving the Celtics defense. When you are facing a defense that takes away everything that you usually want to do and all of the traditional ways that you would go about your business, I think by definition, it puts you in a place where you are outside of your comfort zone and you are trying to do things that you don't usually do. Is that a way to explain away some of the turnovers that looked inexplicable? Sure. It's still not an excuse. It's an explanation. It's not an excuse. And there's no explanation for some of the other turnovers. So it was those 2 things. And then the third part of it, which I want to get into with you right now, is the offense. And the half-court offense. And
what half-court offense?
Well, so look, man, they're up 2-0 in the series. They've won both games at the Boston Garden. You now have the luxury of losing a game at Madison Square Garden and still winning this series. It is an incredible place to be in.
As we transition into the wonderful things that our friends at Fanatic Sportsbook have to say for everybody, they actually have something very cool called Fair Play, John. Are you aware of what
Can you
fair
tell
play
me more?
is? Oh, you would like me to tell you more? I would love to tell you everything I know about fair play. So they would like you to know that your team should deliver in the playoffs, and so should your sportsbook. If you're watching Warriors Wolves, which I know you and I both were last night, you know Steph Curry unfortunately left the game due to injury. With every other sportsbook, that would have cost you and your Steph Curry props and parlays. However, with Fair Play from Fanatic Sportsbook, which covers all first half injuries of every NBA game, your bet would have been saved. One bettor's $5,000 parlay that you see on the screen last night was saved by Fair Play and resulting in a payout of sitting down, $224,000. So this is two Barcelona parlays, I believe, and then Warriors money line, and then Steph Curry 28 plus points. Wasn't voided. The entire slip wasn't voided. It was able to still count because it was a first half injury. No other sportsbook does this. So you should download the Fanatic Sportsbook app today. The only sportsbook that has your back. A reminder, by the way, before I give you the floor, John, a reminder that you must be 21 or older to call. Excuse me, you must be 21 over to play. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Gambling residents, call 888-789-777. Massachusetts residents, call 800-327-5050. New York residents, 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland residents, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that Fanatic Sportsbook would come up with something where if your team plays abhorrently in the first half, we could maybe go back on some of our bets there. But I understand this is already going above and beyond. As you said, Andrew, there is no other sportsbook that does what Fanatic Sportsbook does here. So take advantage of that. Download the Fanatic Sportsbook app, and you can be sure that, hey, if some bad luck transpires, like an injury in the first half, you will be covered regardless.
Well, I bet I know one thing that you wish was voided, and it's your betting and sweating pick as we transition into our betting and sweating picks for the night. So these are our three picks that were available in the Fanatic Sportsbook app. We make these picks during the day, and then we do our pre-betting show. Shout out to Sean and to Jeff for doing betting and sweating before the game today. You can go back and check out the show if you want to see how their bets did, how the three of us did, me, you, and Mensa. We start with you.
I don't know why we would start with me. Campaign over 4 points, rebounds, and assists, which sounded so easy and so simple and so tempting, and he did not come close to hitting that over. However, thankfully, I was picked up by my buddies Mensa, Carl Towns, 20 or more points. He hit that. That's a plus 110. And then Andrew Claudio, if he had a bigger pair of cojones, perhaps he would have bet the Knicks money line, but he's still a winner here, taking the Knicks at plus 10.5 at minus 110.
The rules we stated was nothing more than or less than 200, plus 200 or minus 200. So I technically couldn't have taken Knicks money line because it was plus 400. And so for the second straight game, the Knicks cover a 10.5 point spread. Not only did they cover, they won the freaking game. And your campaign over 3.5 points, rebounds, or assists would have hit if the hero ball 3-pointer that he took did go in, which unfortunately meant the end of his night. But those are our betting and sweating picks. Bet and sweat along with us every game. A reminder, earn up to 10% back on your bonus bets, win or lose. Use fan cash on team gear like my hat or John's hat on fanatics.com, or on bonus bets or profit boosts in the Fanatic Sportsbook app. Stay tuned for exclusive offers all playoffs long. What can you get with fan cash, John? You can get the hat I'm wearing, the Brunson jersey over my shoulder, the hat that you're wearing. Do you have anything else that you can get with fan cash, John?
Yeah, so this is a recent one for me. Just actually came in the mail today. We got a piece of Madison Square Garden court that Josh Hart has played on, and I love me some Josh Hart, so I had to get a special Josh Hart piece of court. And I got to tell you, it's pretty freaking cool.
It's pretty freaking cool. You know, it'd be pretty freaking cool if we could give some fan cash out to a lucky Knicks Film School listener. So we said this before, I guess at the end of game 1, but before game 2, we were giving away $100 in fan cash to one lucky participant of our contest. All you had to do was tweet out a picture of your betting slip, a screenshot of your betting slip for game 2, no matter what the bet is. If it was a crazy parlay, if it was a a money line like I did, or a spread that was most likely to hit if this game was close, like I did. And we are proud to announce that the winner of our Game 2 $100 fan cash giveaway is none other than Opa
BP
underscore BP. Yes, Opa underscore BP. That is this.
Congratulations.
On Twitter. Congratulations. Please DM us for details on how we can get you the fan cash. Let's take a look at what their bet was. So it's what I had: Knicks 10.5 point spread, Jalen Brunson 25 plus points, Karl-Anthony Towns 18 plus points, which hit for sure. OG Anunoby, I don't believe this hit. 15 plus points.
Didn't get it.
Your bet didn't hit. You did earn some fan cash back through the bet because, as we've mentioned all throughout the playoffs, Nick, you get fan cash back, win or lose. So while your bet didn't hit, you still get that. And of course, you end up being our winner of the $100 in fan cash. So congratulations to Opa BP. If you would like to win $100 in fan cash in the future, you get a chance to. After Game 3, we are doing this contest again. You know the rules, as I just said. Tweet out a picture of your betting slip for Game 3. Tag Knicks Film School. Tag Fanatics Sportsbook at Fanatics Book, and hashtag sweepstakes in your post on Twitter with your Game 3 Fanatics bet slip. And then join us for the post game of Game 3, where we announce a winner. Hopefully, not the only winner that we're celebrating after Game 3 for sure.
I can't believe it.
No one who I don't think any Knicks fan that is being honest with themselves, who watched that basketball as Benji's going delirious, as he should. I'm trying to make this. I mean, I don't. Should this whole post game? Did we air? Should this whole post game just have been loud noises?
Yeah, loud noises. Yes, it may be, but I'll try. I'll try to be coherent. I'm sorry.
To finish the point that I was trying to make, any Knicks fan being honest with themselves who watch those two games should not be going and hiring babysitters for whatever nights the Eastern Conference Finals is supposed to be just yet. Like, I saw scant little evidence tonight of a Knicks offense that could get efficient shots against this Boston defense, but just like knew exactly what they were doing. And I'm curious, one, if you saw some signs of hope. Two, did you think it was largely unforced errors? And three, did you see anything in the fourth quarter that would lead you to believe, hey, maybe we're starting to figure some stuff out? I threw a lot at you there, so take it as you
want. I think they've shrunk the floor to into a phone booth for Brunson specifically, but really for anybody.
And what do you attribute that to?
So that's a combination of length, which they have. Like, it's an underrated point made about the Celtics defense in general, and they deserve credit. Like, we're crediting the Knicks defense to some extent for the Celtics failures on offense.
100%.
The Celtics defense is excellent and doesn't fall apart under pressure the way their offense might. I mean, their defense is legitimately excellent, and the collective length that they have, with the luxury of playing off of one, if not two guys who they're treating as non-shooters. And I say treating as non-shooters for a very specific reason, which I'll get to in a second.
We'll get to in a second. Yeah.
They're able to shrink this thing so that Brunson just doesn't have any room. There is nowhere to go. And then they have great individual defenders on top of that who are on Brunson. And even when Josh Hart screens, and to me, this is like the biggest difference with how they're guarding the Knicks as opposed to anyone else. So like the center's on Josh Hart. So Josh Hart screens and rolls. They are not even respecting his role. Like, they are basically shading off of his role. If he pops, they definitely don't care. If he rolls, they basically have two on Brunson, one right behind the other, so that Brunson just has no daylight at all. And he is operating in extremely tight spaces, even tighter than he's used to. And I think that is causing a lot of issues. It's not all new. The Pistons did a lot of this. I think the Celtics just have better personnel and even more focused personnel. And I think
they haven't broken down on defense. In the half-court defense, they have not broken down in the series.
You would say in the fourth quarter in Game 1, some off-ball mistakes by Jaylen Brown where he let go some threes that he shouldn't have.
You highlighted one, yeah.
But you talk about the fourth quarter tonight, like it was tough mid-range buckets for Mikal. Cat on the offensive glass, that remains a huge story. That, look, You're going to put a wing on Cat. The Knicks have obviously not figured out how to deal with that, especially with Hart on the floor. It's like, well, if you can't really take advantage of that in the post, he did a little bit tonight, but if you generally can't take for 48 minutes, you can't take advantage of that in the post. One way to take care of that switch is to punish it on the offensive glass. And 2 straight games where he's had major, huge buckets, just pushing Brown or Tatum under the rim and putting the ball back. And he had an and one tonight at a huge spot. And he didn't even celebrate because I'm telling you, John, he did not believe it. He couldn't believe it. Was that the tying bucket or put them down 1 maybe? I think they were down 3. The Cat put back, yeah, and 1.
So the Cat put back and 1 was at 2:33 to go. It brought them within 1 point.
Yeah, and he couldn't believe it. Like they were like shocked. It was just so crazy. But like schematically, that's one way they need to punish Boston for the scheme. I think they're really struggling to generate anything out of their normal actions. And look, Josh Hart starting to shoot the ball and make a bunch of threes. I don't think
3 of 6 tonight.
If you don't reach 90 points, they reach 91. If you don't reach 92 points, the Celtics aren't going to change their scheme to any great extent. But we all said it. Josh Hart's going to have to take a lot of threes and make some threes to win this series. And so far, I mean, tonight he made 3, 4. What did he make?
He made 3 of 6. So this leads me to there's a few things I want to get to. My biggest cognitive dissonance in this game is watching this game and feeling exactly like you do, which is that in this game tonight, the negatives of Josh Hart on the offensive end, at least, outweighed the positives. And then I look at his stat line and I see 23 points on 9 of 15 shooting. And I say, well, that doesn't make any sense with what I just said, but I know what I watched and I know how I felt watching it.
Yeah. It is the dissonance. It is the Hart dissonance. It should be named after him. Because he played great. He played great. Not just well.
He did what he could do. Great. He did everything he could do.
He did great. And it's just like the way it empowers the Celtics defense to make it hard on everybody else. In fact, early in the first half, Mitch is in the game with Cat, and Cat gets like 3 post-ups in a row where the Knicks score or get either they scored or he got an assist. I think he may have scored 3 times in a row.
When he got going.
Then Mitch comes out because of the haka. They put Hart in for Mitch. Hart's on the wing, not in the dunker spot like Mitch. He's on the wing. They bring the double from Hart's man. Cat has to throw it to Hart. Hart refuses to shoot, kicks it out, and they don't get a good shot on the possession. Even Mitch, as a worse non-shooter than Hart in some ways, because he's occupying the dunker and you can't leave him there because he's an automatic offensive rebound. Even Mitch has more gravity right now than Josh Hart. Maybe that changes with 3 made threes. I don't think it will. And if it doesn't, the only way to counteract it, if Josh Hart's going to play 43 minutes, is he's going to have to make threes. He's going to have to keep shooting them and he's going to have to make them. And if he does, it's a plus for the Knicks. If he doesn't, and this series starts going the wrong way and their offense cannot generate anything, at some point, maybe the Knicks haven't had to do it yet. If it ever gets to a desperate point, they're up 2-0. So, oh my God. But if it ever gets to a desperate point, they might have to see what it looks like without Josh Hart out there for some period of time. And again, forcing the defense to make a different decision than the one they're making. And again, it's not. I'm not criticizing Josh Hart. Josh Hart was great.
Listen, he's the best plus minus of the team in the playoffs.
Yep.
He's been the most consistent Knick through 8 playoff games. You can't say anything bad, but this is just the reality of the situation. I want to go back to Mikal Bridges for a second because that man scored 14 of 16 Knick points in the middle stretch of the fourth quarter. And when he scored the first of those baskets, if I lost it, of course, when he scored the first of those baskets, the Knicks were down by 15. And when he scored the last of those baskets, the Knicks were within 7. Needless to say, we're not having this conversation if Mikal Bridges does not go on one of the, I'm going to say it right now, one of the great fourth quarter scoring sprees in the history of this franchise. I don't care that the last of his baskets came with 5 minutes and 51 seconds remaining in the game. Yes, you needed Jalen Brunson to take you home. And thank you, Cap, for making a 3 and then making another a tough 2, really tough 2, and then making another 2-point shot with just under a minute to go on what was I wish we could rewatch that play, the one with just under a minute where he snuck in for, I think it was high off the glass. It was, or am I imagining that? I don't think I'm imagining that. It was, we'll put them up 3.
I don't know what player you're talking about right now.
It was with under a minute to go. They were up by 1, and then Brunson made it 2, and it put them up by.
Wasn't it the righty
3.
layup on the break over?
Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, it was on the break. That's why I can't remember it. It was on the break.
Yeah. By the way, side point: the Knicks know Al Horford. Al Horford a little bit looks like an old man in the series, and that's a huge deal with Porzingis' health.
Well, hold on though. I thought he held up on switches against Brunson pretty well.
That he's doing, but like you watch certain things. First of all, he can't make a 3, which is helpful. Second of all, on the break, they're just if he's in the way, he just doesn't have any more of like the lateral ability. Yeah, on switches he's still fine. He's still a good player. I'm just saying they know they can get by him on the break, and Brunson just challenged him on that play for sure.
He absolutely did.
Yeah.
0 for 5 from 3 for Al Horford, 2 for 11 from the field, a team worst in 29 minutes, minus 11. Again, sometimes game to game plus minus you throw out as meaningless. Tonight, I think you got a couple of meaningful stats. So, Mikal Bridges, it's the reason they won the game. I agree with you. Mitch was probably the best player of the game. Can we have a difference between best player in the game and most valuable player in the game? I don't know, but like, it's just incredible that it's Bridges, because through the first 3 quarters, we were headed to a really dark place. We were headed to a place that was almost going to, like, sometimes it's so funny how basketball games work and series work. Sometimes you can have a narrative after one game, and the narrative, it could have gone either way, and it was maybe like 55-45. And because I think actually purely because Bridges made that steal at the end, if it was OG making the steal at the end of game 1 and not Bridges, I think the narrative could have flipped the other way. Because it was Bridges making that steal at the end of game 1, the narrative was like, great move, Leon Rose. He's worth all the picks. This is the guy you wanted. Yada, 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 yada. Right? But it wasn't all the way, because it was still 3 for 11. And now, here tonight, entering the fourth quarter, what was he? 0 for 8? He was 0 for the game.
0 points.
It was more than enough to send the narrative back from the 55, 58, 60 zone all the way back.
By the way, he has now played 6 games against the Boston Celtics in the 2024-2025 season plus playoffs.
Yes. Yeah.
He has a single free throw in those 6 games. He has taken 1 free throw against the Boston Celtics in 6 games. That is remarkable.
And he plays like 40 whatever minutes a game.
And he plays, right. So we're talking like 250 minutes. I want to just talk about his run though, on the positive note, because it was some run. We knew he was going to have a little more room against drop coverage in this series than he did against Detroit. I've been talking about that in the grade books. Cornette's going to sit back. So he attacked Cornette, and he is getting to that look. He's getting to his mid-range jumper. And again, strategic decision by Tibbs, which I was ready to kind of jump all over, and then it kind of worked. No Cat, no Brunson to start the fourth quarter. That was pretty bold. And they're running things through Mikal. They're running their little entry on the elbow. Point guard clears, pick and roll to his left side. The goal of that play is to get to his mid-range jumper. The Celtics conceded a couple. Then Drew Holiday's like, that's enough. I'm going to guard him, and he's not going anywhere. He's not getting to his mid-range jumper. And Mikal made a play that...
The assist to Hart?
No, that was also a great play. I'm talking about the one where he took Drew Holiday one-on-one with a push dribble into a lefty reverse layup at the rim.
Yes.
Now that is not something we've seen a lot from Mikal Bridges against a great physical defender. He struggles against physical defense. His dribble can get, and it sometimes in this game can get a little wonky against physical tough defense, but that move was legit. That move was legit.
Yeah, if we could avoid the high dribbling, the high dribbling, that's how he dribbles. If we could avoid the dribbling around thickets, we want to stay away from the thickets. We want to be anti-thicket if we're Mikal Bridges, because when there's a thicket around, it usually is not ending well. But when he has a little room to work, so I know this is crazy because we've been talking for 40 minutes and it feels like probably 80% of it is us like not bashing the Knicks, but like not being as exuberant as you would think two fucking Knick content creators would be after that win. And I apologize for that. But again, I just don't know how to go about this because, again, don't know what the hell we just saw. let me get this a real big positive, and I think this is a big positive. With all due respect to everything you just said, which is all true, by the way, about the Knicks operating in a phone booth and the Celtics very easily having a game plan. It's not like the game plan requires them to think all that much. It's a very obvious game plan, and they're just like a bunch of talented defenders, and they're executing the game plan. Not rocket science here. For as true as all that is, Mikal Bridges, 6 of 18, OG Anunoby, 2 of 9, Jalen Brunson, 6 of 19. And then you could go Karl-Anthony Towns, 9 of 16 for 21 points. The only person on the floor who had more points than field goal attempts, other than Josh Hart in the starting lineup. But like, they also turned over Towns 4 times, including a couple key ones there in the beginning of the third quarter. So, like, on offense, I think those guys. I mean, I don't know what if this counts for analysis. I just think they could all be better. I think they could just hit some more shots. You tweeted it out. Some of OG's decision making on the shots were ridiculous. Some of the Brunson stuff was not ridiculous, but like, it wasn't game 2 against Detroit bad, but it was like a level away from that. And Bridges just had good looks throughout the game that he missed. Of course, he then made them in the fourth quarter. Yeah,
Brunson, I think he's just like trying to figure out where he can find some spots. But man, like I can't. And he's not. And by the way, he's not getting any foul calls. And that's how the series is. And this game devolved into, especially mid third quarter, they're just beating each other over the head. And there's just no calls, and that's fine. Brunson doesn't deserve calls if that's the way we're going to call it. Like Brown's getting hit on his mid-range jumpers. Like it is what it is. But there are plays that 100% are called fouls in the regular season that are not being called. And he, especially against a team like this, in the small spaces he's operating, to be efficient, he's going to need to get to the line a little bit, and he's not. He's not getting there. So that's an important part too. And I thought some of them were fouls. I did.
Did get one called on Drew Holiday, though.
And that's what I was getting to next. Is like, I can never, the fact that in the last 2 minutes of a game, I don't care what he's done to that point. I don't care what a defense is doing. It doesn't matter. This guy delivers every single freaking time. The shot he made, the step back over Drew, who's draped on him at the foul line, at the elbow. That is one of the most absurd, gorgeous shots. I don't even know where he finds that, and Drew is all over him. So physical, not giving him an inch, and he finds with the footwork to create that space off one leg, basically. Magnificent shot. And then the last look, the Knicks go down 1. Boston comes out. I thought kind of brilliantly said we're just going to go fast, right at Mitch on a high pick and roll, and he.
Oh my god! What a great play call.
It was a great play call. It was like, yeah, we can run this down, but we're probably going to end up with a step back 3 if we do that because we're the Celtics. So why not just go straight downhill, right into Mitch? He can't stay with him with a full head of steam, and they were right. So the Knicks lost after all of this nonsense. 8 minutes without a field goal. We could have been here and the Knicks lose this game, and we would have said a golden opportunity they will never get again like this. And they missed it.
I would have been. I don't know if you ever had a night in college, Benji, where it's coming out of both ends. This would have been which would have been worse? Because I would have been coming out the front and it would have been coming out the back. Because I would have been sick to my stomach in 2 different ways.
Can you imagine? Like that was a very likely outcome.
Andrew, you were a fucking choir boy in college. You don't know anything. Come on.
I don't know. And then Brunson comes down and dribbles a lot and spins and draws a foul.
Yeah.
And they win the game. And he makes both free throws.
It makes both free throws. Oh man. All right. I'm trying to think if there's any place else we need to go. Benji has lost it. I'm the one who took a gummy before we started. Shout out to Cornbread. And Benji's the one who's losing it. Boy, my students are lucky tomorrow. Oh boy. Is there anything else we need to hit before I attempt to interact with other human beings?
Shout out Deuce McBride.
No, we didn't shout out Deuce.
Shout out Deuce McBride.
Do the Deuce thing. Come on.
Shout out Deuce McBride. Making shots again. better defensively in game 2 than game 1. Actually held up on some switches. They let him switch, which they should do, certainly on Jaylen Brown, maybe even on Tatum. They allowed him to switch a little bit more. He held up. That dunk was a huge play in the game. Cut it to 18 from 20. Got things going. And he's just playing good ball again. And we love Deuce McBride, and we're happy that he's back playing positive basketball. So I wanted to shout him out. And look, OG Anunoby, really poor offensive game. He was gassed. He is so tired, and rightfully so, man. He is working harder than anybody in the league right now. And we can excuse an offensive lapse. Still, his help defense, John, in this game, ambush double teams all over the place when they least expected, coming out of nowhere, getting a hand on ball. Just
can I say something real quick?
Performance, please.
OG Anunoby, 4 steals and a block, and countless other interruptions. I lumped him in with Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson before. I should not have done that. That's a bad job by me, because one, there are some games where you just don't hit shots, and OG Anunoby took 4 threes tonight. He made one of them. Even the plays that I obviously agree with you because I brought it up. The plays where he's forcing it, like I get where he's coming from, because again, look at the Knicks offense, and for him to go out there and do what he does on the defensive end, where the Knicks would be in this series without that and without him, I don't want to know. So I that was a bad job by me grouping him in with everybody else, basically, because he was on a different level defensively. Sorry, the other thing I want to say, I thought it was a really nice play call. I'm pretty sure it was out of a timeout. The one where Cat got the offensive rebound, or the offensive rebound of the putback. It was off a Hart miss. I thought the play, it was Brunson getting Hart, what I thought was a great look on a cut under the basket. I thought he had a really good look. I'm pretty sure that was out of a timeout. So I just wanted to give a shout out because I wrote that down on my notes as well.
Yeah. No, for sure. And like OG, man, I think he's got them spooked a little bit, honestly. Boston, like if there's like, I don't think they want to be near him. I don't think Tatum, the whole offensive strategy is to know. Terrifying human being. The whole offensive strategy is to get OG off, and I think that slows things down for them as they try to navigate that, and they're always aware of where he is. And when they're not aware of where he is, he comes and takes the ball. So they should be aware of where he is. He's changing the whole outlook on that end of the floor. And I just like the work he's doing in help on the ball, combination of all those things. And then, you know, the offense, I said it in the Detroit series because I felt the same way about how he was guarding Cade Cunningham. The offense is a bonus right now with the way he's playing defensively. And if he gives it to you, great. And if he doesn't, you just kind of let it go.
I'm going to ask you one more question, then we're going to go big picture, and then we'll do our segment, and then I'm going to get you out of here under an hour. I promise. One tactical thing, the Knicks have thus far in 2 games generated 2 3-point attempts for Karl-Anthony Towns.
Oh, yes.
It is like, so clearly we saw them try to do it in the third quarter, and obviously they went and tried to do it in the third quarter again tonight, trying to use Towns inside the arc because, look, they're playing up on you. Go do what you do and try to make hay of it. He did a little bit. I thought that like the sum total of that third quarter stretch, 2 for 4 from the field. Actually, it may have been 2 for 5 from the field, but because either 2 for 4 or 2 for 5 from the field. 2 turnovers, and then there was the offensive foul. So actually 3 turnovers. And then I thought his defense is it a coincidence? You always talk about this. Big Cat offensive games often lead to silly all back, overall. Was it a coincidence that the defense started to drop off as he was getting more of usage on offense? Like, I had a lot of thoughts going through my head during that stretch of the first 5-6 minutes of the third quarter when, by the way, like the lead went up to 20.
Yeah.
Could you, I'm thinking of green eggs and ham, not scrap your current offensive. Benji again. It's like
green eggs and ham reference.
We're doing coming out both ends, and we're doing green eggs. Maybe the green eggs and ham is what is making it come out both ends. I feel like I'm gonna get another face from Andrew here. Should they scrap not scrap, change, alter significantly the offensive strategy to just be like, look, we're just going to go for we're just trying to spring Cat for threes.
I don't know how you do that. They don't really have a playbook for it, which is a criticism you would have of the team and the coaching staff all season, is they don't have a playbook, including stuff that they ran in Minnesota. DJ's been pointing this out for they had flare screens from Gobert to Cat to get him threes, and they don't run anything. They run 0 plays to get Cat threes other than pick and pop. That's not good.
Which is not working. It's not getting him threes.
Well, there's no pick and pop if there's a wing on him, right? It's a switch, so it's a poor job by the. There's no question that's a criticism of the coaching staff. They run nothing to get their best 3-point shooter threes. Problematic, and I don't know how they find that now. And some of the post stuff was really good. He had 3 straight buckets against Horford in the first half. Yep. Where they're not, it's not just Cat run to the post and post up. It's a little screen to get him deeper position. Oh, that's the simple stuff that just a cross screen, man, to get in position makes a huge difference for Cat. No, the post offense is important. You got to stay with the post offense, but you also, I wish they had a little bit more in the playbook to free him up. It is what it is.
Which is why I wonder. You just said they're running stuff to get him good looks inside the arc. Like defensive game plan, clearly revamped it for this entire series. The coach knows the numbers. The coach knows how good of a 3-point shooter he is. The coach knows they're not getting anything else right now. It makes me wonder. I want to know why. Thankfully, Tom Thibodeau is very forthright in his answers when the press asks him pointed basketball questions. So I'm sure we'll find out tonight. Someone text Fred and tell him to ask Tibbs that question. I don't know. We're not going to get an answer. Okay. Big picture. I don't even know how to do this.
It's 2-0.
I think it just hit me. I haven't said the words out loud, have I?
Which ones?
They're up 2-0.
They're up 2-0
in the series.
They're 2 games away. They're 2 games away from the Eastern Conference Finals against I don't know who.
I mean, they were last year.
After everything from the moment they made their moves in the offseason, it was about the Boston Celtics.
Shit, I think the gummy just hit.
And the whole season has been, how do we match up with Boston Celtics? Well, actually, the whole season has basically been that we don't match up with the Boston Celtics. And what a panic, because we don't match up with the Boston Celtics after all the things we did. And here they sit. Here they sit with a 2-0 lead. None of us in our wildest dreams could have imagined this scenario. It is mind-blowing that they sit here with a 2-0 lead against the champs, the measuring stick, the team that everyone panicked about their insufficiency against. And they sit here winning both games in Boston and a 2-0 lead.
Look,
that is hard to comprehend.
It's about winning 2 of the next 5 games.
That's it.
That's all it is. It's about winning 2 of the next 5 games by hook, by crook.
It's been by crook. They've been doing it by crook more than hook.
Yeah, Mitchell Robinson's getting the hook when they start fouling him. That's about it.
Hey, credit to Tibbs, because I said it's not a starting lineup game. It's not fourth quarter. Starting the fourth quarter, not a starting lineup game. You have 2 guys in Mitch and McBride who are playing really well.
Yep.
The offense looks, and he stayed with Mitch until OG checked in with 2:40 to go in the fourth, I think.
Yes.
Until the hack.
Because
they kept Mitch over OG.
Well, OG was also gassed.
Yeah, but they kept them in for until
that's
real crunch time. That's a big deal.
I don't want to get into a Tibbs conversation, but outside of this not generating three or trying to spring Cat for threes thing, he's coached a brilliant series. It's just It's just so, which is why I'm not gonna say. I don't know.
Don't say it.
No,
you got a long way to go.
No,
a lot of basketball to be played.
Look,
if you call it basketball,
yeah. Look, go win 2 more. I don't care where you win them. I don't care when you win them. You lose 3 straight, wins game 6 and 7. I don't care. You got this gift now here. Go win 2 more. Go into more for the fan base that is stuck with you. Go into more for a president of basketball operations who took a big fucking chance. Go into more for a coach that takes a lot of shit. And most of all, obviously, go into more for yourselves because you took a lot of shit this season. This roster took a lot of shit this season, despite the fact that they did win 51 fucking games. And all it was you're not last year's team. You know, go win them. Go win them. And like, I'm going to stop there. Go win them and just go do what you should do now. All right. Before we get to our segment here, anything else from you, Benji?
No, I'm amazed I got as many words out as I did.
Got a lot of words. Thank God. Oh, this would have been.
I am flabbergasted by what we just saw. I am absolutely amazed. All right, G-Mac, come on in, buddy.
Hey, Macri. Hey, Macri.
Yes.
Whose car we taking? Hey, Jason Tatum. Mikal Bridges has a notice. There goes college soccer.